Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wellness Coach Wednesdays. I'm Suzanne Monroe, founder of the International Association of Wellness Professionals. I'm very excited to have a special guest here with me today who I'll introduce to you in just a moment. But before we dive in, let me just take a minute to make sure for those of you who are out there joining us live that you can see us, you can hear us. So if you're out there, go ahead, just say hello, make a little comment there in the box. Say hello and hi, and just let us know you can see us. And you also might want to let us know why you're here. Maybe you're a wellness coach, or maybe you're an aspiring wellness professional, or maybe you're just interested and passionate about wellness in your own life. You can go ahead and post that as well. So let us know if you can see us out there. Let's see here. And as you're doing that, let me just tell you a little bit about Wellness Coach Wednesdays. This is where we're bringing you the latest in health and holistic health and wellness tips and coaching tips and business tips. I see some hellos out there, so that's great. Everybody can see us. And I love to be on Wellness Coach Wednesdays, interviewing experts and special guests to support you in those areas. And it looks like everybody can hear and see us, so I'm glad we'll just jump in and get started. Again, I'm Suzanne Monroe, and I'm here today with Leigha Benson, who is a certified wellness coach. Hello, Leigha.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Suzanne.
Well, I'm so excited you're here. Leigha's a certified wellness coach. She's actually a graduate of the IAWP, and she is focusing on supporting women with anxiety. So we're going to be diving into that today. And we're also going to talk about your journey, because you've really had a journey to get to where you are today. You've had a lot of success, and you're helping a lot of people, and really are an inspiration to so many people. So I'm excited to learn more about you, and then we can share your story with others. So maybe that is a good place to start. If you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about how you actually got into what you're doing now, how you became passionate about wellness, how you decided to become a coach.
Sure. So I started off working in the corporate world, and I had a great job, a great career, but I still felt really empty. I felt unfulfilled, and I felt like I wanted to do something that was going to give back to people in a huge way. So I have always been the type to love helping others, really passionate about making a difference. And I always used to think, okay, well, the only jobs that are out there for me, a psychologist or a therapist, but that still didn't feel right. So when I found out about coaching, I was just like, instantly, that's me. That is me. That is what I need to do. That is my calling in life. I need to figure this out. So, it's funny, I started a blog where I came out about my anxiety and my depression that I was suffering. And for all of my life, I hid this. I kept this a secret. I didn't tell anyone, my friends, my family, no one. I exhausted myself hiding this from the world. And when I came out in a blog post, my notifications were going crazy. My Facebook was like ding, 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 ding. My text, I was getting text messages, phone calls, messages, everyone saying how much my being open, raw, and candid in my blog post, how much it helped them to understand that they're not alone, that there are other people who are suffering, and that there are ways to get support and be open and honest. And it was where I sort of kind of had the light bulb go off, like, wow, like this needs to be talked about. This is something that people feel ashamed of, like I once did, where they felt like you can't talk about it. There is a stigma. And I felt so free when I did share what I was going through. So I knew that I wanted to pursue this. I wanted to be the one to be a coach for somebody else and help them to come out of their shell and to feel empowered and to heal and conquer anxiety.
Oh my gosh, that's an amazing story, because oftentimes we get interested or passionate about something, but we don't necessarily go out there and just like share our story right away with the world.
Oh yeah, I did it. I went out in a big way.
That's so cool. So I mean, you took your story, you shared it with people, and it sounds like it was almost like a light bulb moment. Like,
yes,
this is how I'm supposed to help people. Would you say that's true?
Yes, I felt something shift inside of me. I felt something, I got energy. I can't explain it. It's like I got this energy in me that pushed me to keep doing it, that made me feel like this felt so amazing. This feels so good. I want to keep doing it. I have to keep doing it. So that is when I started looking into different coaching schools and actually came across the IAWP. And it was like, again, something clicked. And I was like, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly what I want. And it was just, everything flowed effortlessly. That's how I knew this was the right path for me.
That's awesome. I love that. Just on a side note too, because sometimes we struggle to figure out like, who should we help or what should we do or what's the right path? And it's like, It sounds like you were kind of tapped in internally and you felt that. I think we all feel that little thing, but sometimes we're not listening for it, but you were like, oh, there it is. And you just kept taking the next step.
Oh yeah. I just kept pushing forward. And, as I kept pushing forward, I kept finding myself more and more and more. It was like, little pieces of myself were getting picked up along the way. And it was like so fulfilling for me and it's so energizing. So I was just so thankful to have stumbled across the IAWP. I knew it was going to be exactly what I needed.
Well, we're so glad you're a part of the community. Like I said, you've been an inspiration. Leigha is someone who tapped into her story right away. She got started right away, sharing her message, and she had 20 clients even before she graduated, which is just amazing. Tell us a little bit about that, because let me just say, we've got different people joining us today. There might be people who are just passionate about wellness in their own life, want to hear about anxiety, so we're going to talk about that. But we've got lots of wellness professionals and wellness coaches who are like, what's Leigha been up to? I want to see what's been working for her. So tell us a little bit about that with your success and how you managed to actually connect and start growing this massive tribe that you now have.
So I knew that right away, I wanted to build a large community. I needed to have that community. I wanted people to know that there is help out there, that we can support each other. And I wanted to facilitate that. So I actually started on Instagram, where I started posting about my own healing journey with anxiety and depression. And my posts were very, very, very raw, open, and I did not hold back. And I think people connected with that in a huge way because, I didn't let myself feel any shame. I didn't feel afraid of judgment. I let go. I released all of those things. And I just said, this is my story. This is who I am. I'm ready to let people, let it resonate with them, let them connect with it, and know that if I was at that point and that low, and I'm where I am now, that they can do it too. And I think that's the inspiration so many people needed, and they needed to hear that success story, because all of us have the ability to get to where I now am. And of course, I still do at times suffer with anxiety, but I now know how to cope with it, how to ground myself. I know the techniques and I know what I need to do in order to help myself. So because I know how to do those things, that's also why I am so successful too, and why I'm able to help people online even through my posts on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just love what you shared. That's really refreshing. First of all, sharing your own story, but also saying, hey, I'm still working through this, but I've figured out the tools. And that is really awesome, because there's a lot of people out there who want to follow their passion and do something, but they think I've got to be, a doctor, or I've got to be an expert in something. And they don't realize that their story is so powerful, and you've just been able to really step into that, which is fantastic.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's like I knew, I'm like, this is my story. I'm the expert on me. So I knew, I had confidence that, I can't mess this up. This is my life. This is what I'm telling the world and showing the world, and it's going to resonate whoever it's supposed to resonate with.
Well, you mentioned these little tools and things that you use now to really keep yourself grounded and centered and support you with anxiety. So let's talk a little bit about what you're specifically doing as a wellness coach, helping people with anxiety. Any tips that you want to share? I'd love to hear for things for people just to even get started. If they're someone who, either struggles with anxiety, or for wellness professionals out there joining us who maybe have clients who are having anxiety issues, but they don't know what to say to them.
Absolutely. I think, so for me with my clients, I always want them to build an awareness around their thought patterns. thoughts become things. If we are so hard on ourselves, if we doubt ourselves, our abilities, if we are, I sort of say it like this: if we're in an abusive relationship with ourselves, where we are constantly putting ourselves down, constantly saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, well, that's just going to build anxiety. You're feeding yourself that negativity, and it'll grow and grow and grow. You have to become aware of your thoughts. You have to see what's helping you, what's harming you. And after that awareness, you then have the ability to shift your thinking and do the positive affirmations. I know at first it feels silly and you think, well, I don't believe it yet, but there's some magic that happens behind the scenes, and you really do start to feel and believe it and become empowered and become your number one fan and your number one cheerleader. And you learn to root yourself on instead of putting yourself down. And that is all about, self-love and self-care and learning how to take care of yourself. That helped me so much with my anxiety, because I realized that I was literally in an abusive relationship with myself. I was not being kind, I was not being loving, and I was absolutely robbing myself of amazing and beautiful opportunities because I kept telling myself, no, I'm going to have anxiety, I shouldn't even try. So I tell my clients to do small things, make small goals every day. That builds up your confidence in yourself, reaching these goals and seeing that, I actually did it. I can do this. So that really helps. Those are some small and really easy things that people can tell people who are suffering with anxiety to do, so that they can start to learn to trust themselves and build up their confidence and sort of shift their thought patterns.
Well, I love what you shared there as the first step, just being awareness, right?
Yes,
because I think so many, whether it's anxiety or other wellness challenges that people have, health problems, like most of the time people are just kind of running around. They're so busy that they're not even really aware of kind of the root issue. But you say this first step, if you get awareness about kind of what's happening in your life, is really, that alone can be very powerful for people.
Oh, very powerful. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I love that you've been able to take these steps and like apply them to your life and start helping people out there. And I know having a niche and sharing your story, like you said, has been one thing that's really made all the difference for you. Talk a little bit more about what you've done to get on social media, create a tribe that way as well, because that's the way the world is communicating today. And for many people, that's kind of still a mystery.
Yes. So having some sort of platform, it doesn't have to be Instagram. Social media, I find you gotta find out what resonates with you. Is it Twitter? Are you comfortable on Facebook? Is it a Facebook group that you want to facilitate? Find out what you're comfortable with. For me, it was Instagram, and using relevant hashtags. And always making sure that you can use up to 30 hashtags. Always use up to 30 hashtags. You'll make your audience much wider that way. Posting, obviously really relevant pictures and topics that have to do with your niche. And also having a website and a blog is a really great way to also drive traffic to your website from a social platform by having your link available there. So all of that kind of interconnects and really, really helps. But not being afraid to post things that are a little bit shocking about yourself, that shock value goes a long way. And I always tell people, it's the story that you don't want to tell that needs to be told. Because that's the one that a lot of people silently struggle and suffer with. And people will learn to, like you said in the program, the know, like, and trust factor is huge. And being really open and honest and real with your audience, that definitely gains their trust and makes them feel like, this is the type of person I want to coach me, because they know what I'm going through. They understand on a deeper level, and they understand my pain, and they know how to get to where I want to be.
Well, I'm glad you shared that too, because I think for many people that are out there as helpers and healers and coaches, they're wanting to help people, but they also want to feel like they have it all together before they go out there and start sharing their message or helping people. But in this case, you're saying, hey, you're putting it out there on the line. You're kind of revealing it all. And that thing that you said is kind of the one thing you don't want to share is usually the thing that you are supposed to share.
Absolutely. And I'm going to admit, for a while there, okay, I'm like, okay, I'm an anxiety coach. I really shouldn't be telling these people that I still struggle with anxiety. I felt like, no, that's probably not okay, because then what if they don't feel like they should use me because I haven't fixed myself yet? I was so wrong about that. I think there's so much that people gain from you saying, yes, I am a coach. Yes, I am experienced, but I still do struggle. People connect with that too, and they really appreciate that honesty, that yes, I'm not completely healed. I'm not, but I'm getting there and I'm growing and I'm still learning. So I'm still able to keep teaching you and be connected to your struggle at the same time.
Yeah, I know. I always say if you're only a few steps ahead of someone, that's really the most inspiring place you can be, right?
Absolutely.
Because to learn from somebody who's, 10 years down the road sometimes actually doesn't apply to your life. So it's almost kind of just like a mindset shift for people who are out there who want to help others. But it sounds like it was an easy shift for you to make on one level, though you did share earlier that while you still have anxiety, you kind of push through it. For example, you said even coming on live to do an interview like this, or posting videos out there, like that felt out of your comfort zone. Like, how do you move through out of your comfort zone in a way to like get out there? Because it seems like on the other end, it was a payoff for you, but doing it was a little bit challenging.
Oh, it literally, like I told you earlier, doing lives and live feeds or videos, that was actually my number one anxiety trigger. Like this right now is an anxiety trigger. It was the scariest thing to me, but I knew that because I'm afraid, that's where I need to do the most work. So I pushed myself and I said, you know what? I got to do live feeds on Instagram. I got to do live feeds on Facebook. I have a message. I have a story to share with the world. My love and my healing is stronger than my fear of going live, my fear of judgment, my fear of anything. If I'm going to show up for people and I really want to attain this goal of healing and helping others, then I've got to put my stuff to the side and show up for the world in a big way. And that means putting that fear aside and just doing this with everything I have.
Very powerful message there. I just want to reiterate that for people, because I think, I think that's when you really know you're on the right path, like in Leigha's case, because your passion for what you want to do outweighs your fear of the things that you might have to do. That's really kind of what you're saying here.
Yeah.
If you're not really feeling that, then either your fear is so big and you need support with that, or that passion piece really isn't there. It might be something to kind of course correct you, but you knew you had that passion and it really started to outweigh that. And so that
absolutely
forward.
Yes, exactly.
We are here seeing lots of great comments out there. People joining us are excited about what you're saying. They're excited about your path and what you're up to. So hello to everyone out there. Nishama's posting, Kevin's posting. I see some other people out there. So thanks everybody for chiming in there. And I'll say for anybody joining us, if anybody has any questions, we may have time to ask a few of Leigha here. So if you have any questions specifically, either about anxiety or what Leigha's doing as a wellness coach or how she's gotten to where she is right now, go ahead, post your questions, and we'll pop back to those in just a minute. Well, this is so fun having you here. One thing I wanted to ask you, since you've gotten out there and you've been supporting people with anxiety, have you noticed, is anxiety increasing, at certain times in the year? Or are you just seeing, anxiety seems like it's a big problem and you stepped into this and you have such a tribe. And what's your take? Is there a huge amount of people that are really suffering?
Yes. It's gotten to the point where I think every single person in this world, they do have anxiety in one way or another. And whether it's social, whether it's, whatever type of way that anxiety manifests itself, there's different ways to deal with it. And I think so many people think that they can only go to either therapy, psychologist, or medication. And there needs to be an awareness built around the fact that there actually are, and I've seen an uprise of anxiety coaches that there is this other facet, that this other way that you can go to help yourself heal through coaching with somebody who has been through it, who is suffering just like you. Because I know I tried therapy and that didn't work for me. And at the time I felt like, well, that didn't work. What else? There's nothing else for me to do. I just can't get over this. There's nothing else. But I always tell my clients, you have to do what feels right to you, what helps you the most, whether it's, therapy, a coach. Some people, they do need medication, whatever they need to do, whatever helps them. But there is an uprise of anxiety, I feel, and depression during the holidays. That's what I'm noticing a lot on my social media, that a lot of people are being open, that they are struggling a lot, especially around this season, because it is a lot about family, and sometimes that can kind of bring about a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely. And happy holidays, by the way, to everybody out there.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, we're mentioning the holiday season. I got some holiday decorations back there. You might be watching this at a later date. So if that's the case, happy whatever season it is then.
Right.
But that's, that's a good point. And it's cool that you are connected to social media to connect and really see what's happening for people out there. We're getting a couple questions, so let's pop over to those now.
Sure.
Nashama is asking, what are your social media addresses? We can put those up on the screen if you want to share one or two places with us. Are you at Anxiety Coach Leigha? Is that your?
So my Instagram is at Anxiety Coach Leigha.
Okay.
And I also have a Facebook support group. It's a private group, and it's called the Anxiety Peer Support Group.
Okay.
So I facilitate that. And also, I'll wait. I don't want to go too fast.
Okay.
So that's the Anxiety Peer Support Group. That's on Facebook. And I also have my website, which is www.lifecoachleigha.com.
All right. I'm just going to put that up there on the screen right now. So anybody who wants to connect with Leigha can do so. Lots of different ways to find her out there. And we have another question coming in, which is kind of interesting here from Sandra, who says, Leigha, how did you muster the courage to leave your corporate job? And what was the most difficult part of that transition? I love that question. Obviously, starting out a new path, we're usually all coming from another path. And I know you had shared you were in a corporate job. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I was in my corporate job and I was very comfortable there. I am not the type to take risks, hence anxiety. I was on my mat leave. So in Canada, we get a year paid mat leave. So I said, this is my opportunity. This is my chance. I got to figure this out and I got to give this all I got. I'm giving myself a year. So I dove in. Suzanne, I dove in. And And it's funny, like right before I had to give them the word on whether or not I was coming back, I was hesitant. I was afraid. It was my fear that was sort of the what if factor coming into play. But I said, you know what? There's nothing in the world that I would rather do. Whether I am making, thousands, millions, or nothing, this is what I want to do. And I got to do it because I can't see myself, after discovering my purpose, going back to a corporate job where that isn't where my heart is. So I literally, I'm not going to lie, I struggled with that decision. I really, really did. But I knew in my heart at the end of it, that was all that I needed to do this. And I just did it.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because you gave yourself a timeline.
I did.
Sometimes people will start the program, try to, get started, but they still have their other job and they don't set a date, but you had this specific time frame and you were like working towards it. And that sounds like it helped you to really push on. Yes, it did.
It put the necessary pressure on myself to push myself to be successful, push myself to work hard and to try to get clients right away, to prove to myself that I actually can do this.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you've proven it to yourself, and now you're on the road and helping people, and it's fun to see all the things that you're up to. Let's see, we've got a question here from Kevin who says, do you have any tips for quick anxiety relief during the holidays, like when someone starts talking about politics?
Oh my goodness. Well, quick anxiety relief, I always say, there's breathing techniques, like abdominal breathing really, really helps. I tell my clients, if you want, excuse yourself from the situation, step away from everyone, and do some deep abdominal breathing. Put your hands on your abdomen, breathe in through your mouth for 5 seconds, and then slowly breathe out for 7 seconds. And that really helps take you out of the fight or flight mode if you're getting into an anxiety attack or a panic attack. And that's one that I do often, but that's a quick anxiety relief technique that I like to tell my clients to have on hand at any time.
Yeah, and remove from situations sounds good.
Yeah, if you're in a situation, I mean, there's nowhere that you're going to be trapped. You can leave absolutely, just knowing you can leave at any time. You're not being held hostage. Give yourself the that permission that if necessary, that you're allowed to leave, you can leave. And, if it becomes too much, you can do that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And, some people might be listening today who thought, oh, well, I don't really have anxiety, but oh my gosh, I have stress. Can you talk a little bit about, do you see there's a difference between the two, or is it really just along the same spectrum? We all actually have stress, so we all have different forms of anxiety. I mean, what's your take?
I feel like the two kind of go hand in hand. When you're under a lot of stress, that's when the anxiety and the panic really amps up. For me personally, I know that when I am stressed, anxiety is there. Sometimes even I get anxiety randomly where I feel nervous for no reason. And I have to sort of check in with myself and say, well, did I drink enough water today? Am I feeling lightheaded or having issues with mental clarity because I'm not properly hydrated? How have I been eating? Am I eating healthy? Have I been, getting enough nutrition and nutrients in my body? I check in with myself. So, through the program with the IAWP, I learned actually so much on how to eat better for your mental health. That helped me in a huge way, because that's one of the things that really my clients are excited to learn from me, how they can eat better or what they should eat in order to decrease their anxiety and stress. So that's been huge. That I was so happy to learn about in the program.
That's cool. Well, I just love, because, we have the whole idea of Wellness 360, and there's all these different components of what you can do to support yourself. But
yes.
you're focusing in on one particular health challenge and then seeing how all these things can apply, which is very different than going down the route of maybe just getting one road type of support. It sounds like you have so many tools in your toolbox for your clients.
Literally, thanks to the IAWP, I've got like spirituality covered. We've got, mental, physical, emotional, everything. So that's why I knew this was right for me, because you guys cover like every spectrum possible. So you cannot go wrong.
Looks like we're getting a few more questions on this. So let's see. Well, this is kind of an interesting question from Monica, and some people do talk about this, that stress itself can actually be a positive driver, but anxiety feels more negative sometimes for people. Do you agree?
I do. Stress, for sure. There's the good types of stress, right? Stress where it's like you have a deadline and you're stressed about it. That stress is a reminder, I've got to do this. I've got to get this done. So it pushes you to do certain things that have to be done, and take positive action in your life. Anxiety, for sure, it doesn't feel good. It's it becomes more of a roadblock, I find. So I think they're different in that way, where anxiety sometimes causes us to shut down. And stress can cause us to drive forward. So the two are different in that sense, I feel.
Oh, I like that. One is like moving you forward. One's kind of stopping you in your tracks.
Yes.
That's a good way to think about it. Sandra is asking, at what point did you know you were ready to actually start coaching others? Which is a great question.
Yes.
I'd love to hear more about that.
So okay, so here's the thing. I had this really bad mindset around, at first, feeling like I was worth coaching people, feeling like I could charge people. Like I felt in the beginning very guilty about it. So I said, I need to build up my confidence. I need to do that. So I offered to coach a lot of people for free. So that was amazing. That helped me so much, because that built up my confidence. And I was getting such positive feedback that when I was ready to charge, that I felt totally ready, totally worth it. My mindset had shifted into a place of knowing I am worth every penny that I charge. And I needed to fix that within myself first. So that's why I personally started off right away. I think I was in the second module when I started to learn about the core coaching method. I started right away with practicing for free.
That's fantastic. And absolutely, that's such a great step to take, is to get working with practice clients, build your confidence, build your skills, and do exactly what you did. But I think what you've done, which can be different from some people, is that you started working with practice clients right away.
Yeah.
Where something drove you to do that, where sometimes people want to start working with clients, but they wait to start working with practice clients maybe till they've graduated or till later.
Oh, no, yeah, I could not wait.
Right? So you did that. And so therefore you had paying clients sooner. But something allowed you to, there was something within you that said, okay, I'm going to take on practice clients right away too.
And it's funny because a lot of them after then turned into paying clients because they did have such a positive experience with me. They're like, you know what? You really helped me. Like, how much are you charging? How do we do this? Where do I sign? So it was amazing. It's a great way to put yourself out there. And then I got referrals too. So it doesn't hurt to do that in the beginning.
That's awesome. I love that you took the initiative to get going and get started in doing it that way.
Yes.
Not only to build your own confidence, but exactly what you said. People get a taste of what it's like working with you. It really does jumpstart what you're doing. So I encourage anybody out there who's, especially students in our program who are watching this, welcome to all of you. And I know many of you are following Leigha and what she's up to. And I think a lot of what we've heard from you today is that you might have felt that stress or anxiety at any of these points, whether it was leaving your corporate job or taking on practice clients or then paying clients or putting yourself out there on social media. But you kind of said, okay, what I'm doing in the world is more important than this fear. That's like a big takeaway I'm getting from all the success that you've had, because that was a driver for you, it sounds like.
Absolutely. That was it. I had so much passion in me, I was going to burst. So I knew that I had to keep going, and that fear would eventually subside. This would become my new normal, just like anything else. If you do it enough, you get comfortable, it becomes natural. And I knew I had the passion within me to back it up. So I was okay.
Well, I know you've been coaching clients, and you have a new website that's out there as well, which I want to share with people again. But what's next for you in the year ahead, and how are you going to continue to support people?
Okay, so I just finished my first online program that I created. So I am so excited to launch that. I just finished it literally today. So I am going to be launching that. You can find that actually on my website at lifecoachleigha.com. And it is how to conquer anxiety in 60 days or less. So it's literally all of my best stuff. It's videos of me coaching you through it. And it's all of my things that I've personally used in my life to help myself heal, and things that I've learned through the IAWP, and just the best of the best all in one little program. So I'm really excited for that.
Awesome. That sounds like something coming soon that people can connect with you on. And I love the title of that, How to Conquer Anxiety in 60 Days or Less. Sounds very useful for anybody.
Absolutely.
Especially after the season, everybody can get themselves back grounded and ready for the new year.
Exactly. It's so true. It's the perfect time, I think.
Well, I'm curious. I know we also have listeners that are joining us today, Leigha, who are just thinking about getting started following their passion to become a wellness coach. They're like, oh my gosh, here you were in a corporate job and you really didn't want to go back to it, and you decided to follow your passion. I mean, what advice would you give somebody who wants to follow in this similar path and really start sharing their passion with wellness with others?
I say, if you've got the passion, go for it. Go all in. You just can't go wrong. Not only did the IAWP teach me so much, but it actually helped me in my own healing, in learning about what I need to do to help myself in ways that I never ever thought of before. So this wasn't just transformational for me career-wise. This was actually transformational for me in every aspect of my life. So I say, whether this is for changing your career and going into the coaching